All right, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with a Age of Empires 4 commentary. For my usual fans, that was a little bit weird to say, but that's what I'm doing here today, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, it's kind of a StarCraft commentary in a way, because we actually have a game from Leenock here. Leenock, who, if you were not sure, was a professional StarCraft 2 player who got very far in StarCraft 2. I don't know if he ever won anything, but he was a very good player in StarCraft 2. And yeah, so we basically, Age of Empires 4 has a way that you can observe games just that are randomly online and basically pick them from a normal list. And I was actually trying to observe the tournament, the Genesis tournament, and I'm probably going to try to do a cast of the Genesis tournament, the finals. Is there a way to actually, this is the first time I've been able to do this. Reveal map all, there we go. So now we can see both players. He's going to be playing against a player named DOL, who I'm not aware of, but I feel like I've heard the name before. So anyway, Leenock probably playing at a pretty high level. I don't think he's actually in the tournament itself though. But he is playing a random game right now. He actually streams Age of Empires as well, so you can check out his stream if you're interested. But yeah, so Age of Empires has a way that you can kind of observe random games and watch what's going on. And I was watching the list of games for the tournament games, but they're having some issues where basically all of the players have put their profiles on private, and so you can't actually find any of the tournament games. But while I was about to give up on finding a tournament game, I saw Leenock pop up here at the top of the list, and I was like, all right, well, I know Leenock at least. Let's go ahead and watch Leenock play. And so you have to forgive me, by the way, if anyone is an Age of Empires fan and you're watching this. This is my first time casting an Age of Empires game, and so this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for me. And of course, you know, if anyone watches this a year or maybe even in a month, it may seem completely ridiculous because the knowledge of this game is just ever expanding, and my knowledge of this game is already pretty low, but is expanding as we go as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a rough one here, but we're going to give it a try, and hopefully we'll be able to check out what's going on in a fun way. So in any case, we do have Leenock, it looks like, is playing the Chinese faction based on the fact that he is in the Tang dynasty, and DOL, I'm gonna call him Dole just because that makes it a little bit easier, is also playing Chinese, is what it looks like. No, wait, I'm sorry, we got the, wait, is this the players on the side? Yeah, Leenock's playing China, and this is sorry, the French. He's not playing China. It says Tang dynasty for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's telling me Tang Dynasty. I think it's bugged. I think it's bugged because I selected Leenock at the beginning, so it's going to say Tang Dynasty the whole time. I'm not sure why that is. But as you can see here, he's playing the French. He's actually going for this School of Cavalry, which is the H2 landmark that we often see from French players. It's going to enable him to get out some very early cavalry. The French have very strong early harass with their cavalry as well, so it's very likely that that's what we're going to see. Leenock, on the other hand, is going for Barbican of the Sun, which is, as you can see, a defensive landmark. So probably choosing defense because of the fact that the French have good early harassment. Leenock, I have seen him streaming Age of Empires a lot lately, so again, I don't think he's in the tournament exactly, but I think he's probably at a high enough level that he knows what's going on with this game pretty well, just because he's been playing it a lot. And of course, his StarCraft mechanics are going to carry him as well. So we'll see how this goes. French versus Chinese. There we go. A new age begins, and France is going to immediately start producing Royal Knights. It's very early to get Knights. For those of you that are not familiar with Age of Empires, Knights are usually a higher tier unit that you cannot get until later in the game. And so the French can get it with that building. They can get them very early. So and they're very strong units, heavily armored. They do extremely well against archers and what have you because of that armor. They're very strong. They can do a lot of damage. So it's super common and basically ridiculous not to get early knights as the French. And there we have the first knight going out across the map right now. You can see 3 armor, 29 lance damage, which, to give you a perspective, the very basic tier 1 unit, the Spearman, has 9 damage to start with. So 29 is a lot of damage. And again, if you are watching this as an Age of Empires fan, I am casting this with a little bit of a leaning towards explaining some of the things that I have learned about this game to my StarCraft fans. So sorry if it's a little bit low level, but that's okay. Anyway, we do have both players with scouts as well. They're just kind of running around the map, revealing it. The map starts off... Oops, come on, there we go. The map starts off dark, and the resources are randomly generated, well, semi-randomly generated within a pattern. And so you kind of have to explore the map to kind of find out what's going on. And this knight is coming in here to try and see if he can get some harassment down. Just, you know, you want to kind of go in there, see if you can pick off a worker here or there. This is super bugged, isn't it? It's just stuck on this. It's giving me the the dynasty option for some reason. It's gonna do this the whole game. That's ridiculous, but that's okay. Anyway, you want to come in and harass the enemy workers if you can, and that's why Leenock has these spearmen chilling out near his workers as well. I think he probably, yeah, he's got a spearman up here near these workers as well. Very good defense to kind of spread out your spearmen a little bit. Make sure that you're keeping an eye on your workers and what have you. Meanwhile, we do have, let's see, I thought I saw some more knights. Where are the knights? Where have they gone? I don't know where the knights are. But anyway, we do have Dole going ahead and building up another town center here. It's in, you know, in StarCraft you build another command center or other sort of basic building, base building, I guess the base of a base building at another sort of location. But in this game, you kind of sometimes just build it near your main because it's mostly a way of producing extra workers more than anything else. But you do put it next to resources oftentimes. Sometimes it is a defensive structure as well. You know, it shoots arrows at any enemies that come nearby, and they're pretty strong against early game units. And so sometimes you do see players put their second town center near resources, but in this case, and in a lot of cases, you do see them put that just kind of near their main base. So in any case, Leenock just going ahead and getting his economy up. I think there should be a way to see if we click on the player. So Leenock currently at, do I have to select their name up here? I guess I do have to select their name. It's a little bit awkward way to observe this here, but you can see how much of an economy they have based on how many workers they have, essentially. A little bit of harassment coming in from these knights again. But again, the spearmen are just chilling out near those workers, making sure they can keep track of everything. And I think, basically, it looks like Dole has said, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and, do I really have to, I have to click on this part. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a problem with the user interface. The user interface for this game is not great, but anyway. Oh, we can, okay, so now we can go ahead and check the income. We can check the military tab here as well. You can see only one unit has been killed by Dole, but he's gotten a little bit of an advantage. But because of the fact that those spearmen are holding off his cavalry, he basically is not producing too many more of those, for the moment at least. He may produce them later on, but he's like, okay, well, if you got spearmen protecting, there's no reason to spend a lot of money on extra knights at the moment. He's got them parked out over here just in case some villagers come over to get stone, but you know, he's just kind of instead teching up and ecoing up, getting the second town center, getting some archers as well. You know, it's kind of a rock paper scissors thing. You got archers can outrange things. You've got knights that can usually close range with the archers, and then you've got spearmen that can kill the horsemen, essentially. So he says, okay, well, you're a lot of spearmen to counter my knights. I'll get a lot of archers because that counters your spearmen. Then he can kind of keep the knights back and protect a little bit, get the archers in within range, and you can kite spearmen pretty well with the archers in general. So basically forcing them into these spearmen and then getting archers to counter the spearmen. Very, very common tactic. Very good play to make, is what it looks like coming in here out of Dole. Now, you can, of course, then counter that by getting cavalry of your own as your, you know, or horsemen in general. And so we'll see if he decides to do that. I'm just trying to look around here. It looks like Leenock is basically, oh, he's actually going to age up to age 3 right now. So another option you can take is in the third age, there's basically in Age of Empires 4, there's 4 different ages, and you unlock different tech in each age for all the civilizations. And he may be trying to tech up to get some of the higher tier stuff. To get knights, you're going to need a higher tier tech. Actually, the Chinese have a special cavalry unit, I believe. We'll find out what he goes for here in a minute. But sorry, well, a special high tier unit, I should say. All the civilizations have usually their own special high tier unit and special high tier upgrades as well. So now that he's at tier 3, we'll see what he goes for next and see what he's going to start producing. But it looks like he is also, it looks like both players just kind of set to do a basic economic gain. Dole back here is still continuing to produce archers. He's actually running his archers across the map. He's going to try and rally here to do a little bit more harassment. He may feel that, okay, well, my opponent just spent a lot of resources on getting to tier 3, and so I'm going to go ahead and attack him because he's going to be missing on army supply in the meantime. But, you know, Dole has been kind of doing the same thing and getting a lot of resources. He has not teched up to tier 3 yet, though, as we can see here. Let's check out some of these tabs. Income per minute we can check on for both of these players. A lot of gold coming in for Leenock compared to Dole. Gold is the resource that you need to build the higher tier units, so it's not surprising that he's invested a lot of workers here into gold production while he teched up there. And is there a way to see what he's producing? Okay, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was thinking. So he's now countered the counter to his counter by getting the Nest of Bees. The Nest of Bees is basically a rapid fire multi-shot. You can see it has an 8 rocket burst with 8 damage each, so 64 damage burst, and it's basically an area of effect weapon. And so if your opponent has a bunch of archers or and a bunch of just like this, okay, here we're gonna see if he has enough. He's got 2 of these. Can these 2 do enough damage? This ram is gonna be doing significant damage to his building while this is going on, but he needs to get within range. And actually, no, this is a springald. I'm sorry, I thought it was another Nest of Bees. The springald is basically, this is a beautiful counter here. Springalds are perfectly made to kill siege units such as rams. They do bonus damage to siege units. So it's going to do a ton of damage even not to siege units. They do, as you can see here, 60 damage plus 20 to siege. So the springald is the perfect counter to the ram. The ram will not be able to do significant damage to the building by the time the springald finishes it off. And in the meantime, these nests of bees are going to be the perfect counter to these massed archers. Now there is actually a formation that you can use out. So we can see Dole has used the staggered formation to spread out his archers to make the area of effect damage of these nests of bees a little bit less damaging, but it's still going to be very effective to have these nests of bees. So Leenock countering the horsemen, forcing archers to counter his spearmen, and then going straight into a higher tier tech to get these extra units. They're going to counter everything that counters what he was made. So a very brilliant 5-head move here by Leenock to go ahead and counter that early play. Dole still on age 2, by the way. Is he actually making I don't see him making an age 3 building. You need to make a special building in order to get that tech up. He's just going ahead and basically going off a lot of econ for age 2. No gold at all, basically. 10 gold per minute coming in, which is essentially nothing. He's not going to be able to afford any of the higher tech units. And so he's just basically trying to mass tier 2 units, age 2 units to try and defeat Leenock, but Leenock has the counter to it with these high tier units. I feel like Dole might have missed out on his window of opportunity in order to actually pull this off, because Leenock is now fully prepared. He's even got crossbowmen, which are heavy archers. They're they're significantly better than the light archers. Crossbowmen, it's an interesting thing with this game too, where sometimes the higher tier units are actually countered by the lower tier units. So for example, springalds are actually kind of countered by bowmen. Crossbowmen can be countered by lower tier horsemen in a way, because the crossbowmen are doing bonus damage against heavy units. But you know, if you use lighter units, then you know you're not countering that. Now, of course, the French have the special cavalry, so have access to the Royal Knights, which are excellent cavalry units. So he may not want to go down and use these light melee cavalry to engage. But it's kind of an interesting thing how sometimes the lower tier stuff can counter the higher tier stuff. Looks like Dole going in for a little bit of a scout to see what's going on, and found indeed that there was a lot of significant damage units coming out here. It's actually 4 Springalds. It's only 1 nest of bees actually coming out here. 4 Springalds. So but the Springalds again are actually going to be really good damage against knights. They're going to be really good damage against basically everything. Oh, and he's actually leading with some palace guards. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The special infantry unit allowed for the Chinese faction. Palace guards, very strong melee units, significant armor, good attack speed. So he's moving out with some of those as well, but just very little infantry though. So this is kind of interesting. And his siege units are lagging behind here. He needs to be very careful actually, because it's theoretically possible he could turn around with. Well, he actually never made more knights because of the spearmen. He actually stopped making knights and just made only archers. I thought I would have a significant contingent of knights, but he doesn't right now. And so these just few palace guards are enough to hold off these knights very well. And so he's actually running for the hills. He's hiding his ram in this hidden forest, which actually is a spot where you don't get vision unless it's a scout unit. And now he's going to try and turn and fight. Now he's got a few spearmen here. He's kind of drawn things out enough that he can fight these palace guards just through sheer numbers. Now that Leenock's forces have kind of been separated out, and now Leenock's siege units are not protected by those palace guards. His crossbowmen have come back to re-rally with the rest of his units though. Crossbowmen over here kind of doing damage with these other bowmen, and again well, especially with superior numbers, but low tier tech bowmen are actually going to be a little bit better per cost than the crossbowmen. But I think Leenock just has a lot more units. Looked at, and just a volley of crossbowmen taking down a knight. He's taking down all the significant horsemen which would have been the best units to kind of come in here and get on top of these units. The nest of bees doing significant damage to the masses of archers as well. The Springald's able to do significant damage too, and it looks like Leenock is going to pull off this battle. I thought for a minute that Leenock was not going to be able to, since he kind of got a few of his infantry units, his crucial frontline infantry units, drawn off to the side, but he's got them back, or maybe these are different ones I didn't see. Rallied with the rest of his units, and was able to protect almost all of his siege units. He lost that nest of bees, but he's got all of his Springalds here, and he's going to be able to take the middle of the map and just take up a position right outside the enemy base. It looks like Dole is getting an extra barracks over here, and this is his, here's the tier 3 institute, Royal Institute, tier 3 building. So finally Dole going up to the higher tier units, but in the meantime Leenock has got a trebuchet out, and it's being attacked by this little single archer, which is going to kill by the single nest of bees. Way overkill there. But this trebuchet is a long-range unit that is ridiculously effective at attacking buildings, and basically the only way to counter that for Dole would be to get his Springalds of his own. If he can get H3, he does have H3 up. Is he going to make a siege workshop in order to get siege units out? But the thing is if he gets those siege units out, if he gets Springalds of his own to deal with the trebuchet, the superior Springald count of Leenock is just going to absolutely destroy Springalds counter Springalds basically. They're both siege units, and they both do damage to siege units. So if you have more Springalds, you can pick off the enemy Springalds. So once this, I've lost track of it here, but once that trebuchet gets within range, he's going to be able to start shelling and doing significant damage to the production buildings of Dole. And he does these rams as well, which are again just basically they're low tier units, but they're purpose built to just get in, soak up damage, do extra damage to buildings, and take down your opponent very quickly, take down their opponent. And he's rallying more nest of bees here as well, but I don't think Dole has anything. I don't see an army on the field for him. There's his army right here. 10 spearmen, a handful of archers, and a villager mixed in here as well is all he has left. He's trying to desperately push some units out of these barracks that he's built. It's got 4 barracks putting out units, but he just doesn't quite have what it takes, I don't think. Here he comes in, a desperate counterattack. Again, the low tier units are not going to be quite as affected by these high tier Springalds, but it just might be that there's more of them than it matters. The palace guards are too superior in number. Crossbowmen doing significant damage as well. Even though they're not specially designed to kill spearmen, they can kill spearmen nonetheless. Villagers coming off to try and kill off these siege units. Villagers are actually really good at killing siege units because they have that that sort of melee attack, but there's just too many forces here for Leenock. The Trebuchet lives as well, crucially. He's going to start targeting down these barracks, which means that he won't actually have much have many facilities to build any attack units. This Ram doing special damage against the town center as well, doing significant damage. The Trebuchets finish off the barracks, and it looks like it's going to turn onto the landmarks is what it looks like. The landmarks, if you lose the landmarks, you lose the game. That is the win condition. But, you know, oftentimes when you're just being overrun like that, you get GG as well. And there's the victory for Leenock. I think I had Leenock. No, okay, it's just going to say match complete. It didn't actually see what the chat was, but you could tell it was definitely a victory for Leenock. So well played by him. A pretty quick game, considering only 20 minutes. Oftentimes, I'm sorry, I almost said Civilization. Age of Empires 4 games last 30 or 40 minutes. So we're gonna get a closing screen here to see exactly how things went, and you can see that Leenock basically just at a certain point. He got an economic lead. Look at this. What is going on here? I guess it's automatically shifting over between things. So let's look at the timeline here. So you can see that Dole was significantly getting a lot more units over and over and over again. But here's the thing. Right here is where he got siege. I'm sorry. Leenock got tech tier 3. He got age 3. Does this mean there's a battle? Oh yeah, there's a battle right here. And once he got age 3, there's this little window here where Dole had more stuff, but Leenock was getting better units. And if the battle had happened a little bit earlier, like around here, if he'd been able to force a battle here, Dole would have been able to take the victory. But instead, there was this little bit of time where Leenock was able to gather some of his higher tier units, which completely countered the higher number units right there, and was able to dominate there. I'm surprised that actually Dole had a lot of stuff, a lot of supply for most of that time, but it just was not the right supply to beat what Leenock had, and he kind of didn't quite catch up either. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been fun, actually. My first time casting an Age of Empires 4 game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll be able to find some more cool games to watch randomly. I'm going to try to do a cast of the tournament as well on my Twitch channel, and after that's on Twitch, if I get some good games, I'm going to upload them to YouTube as well. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. GG, and kind of happy to see Leenock, the StarCraft player, win in this game. I'm sorry, there's no time to prepare, so I didn't, like, it just popped up, and you kind of have to, like, jump into the match immediately if you're going to watch it. You can't, like, save it for later. So I didn't have time to research Dole, which probably stands for something, and it may be a significant player of his own that I just don't know about. But so sorry I didn't know too much about him, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. GG.